All right. Hey, YouTube, I'm Lucky, and I have an absolutely huge news story that has to be covered today. A Bungie dev talked about and hinted at what perk is going to be on the exotic Gjallarhorn rocket when it comes into Destiny 2. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, they announced that the Gjallarhorn is going to return in December with Bungie's 30th anniversary celebration event. And on top of that, you are going to unlock it by completing a dungeon, which is actually the loot cave in the Cosmodrome. If you haven't seen that info yet, here, watch this clip first.
The dungeon holds one more secret. The crown jewel of its weaponry is a Destiny 1 classic. Gjallarhorn is making its long-awaited debut in Destiny 2.
We're going to take its iconic status to the next level. Galley has been carefully updated for the Destiny 2 sandbox.
So, this December, join your friends and collect exclusive rewards during the Bungie 30th anniversary celebration.
Okay, so now we know where we're getting the Gjallarhorn. We know that they are personally making sure that it fits within the D2 sandbox. They said that detail in that video. So now the only question remains is what exotic perk will be on the Gjallarhorn? Obviously, back in the day, it shot one rocket, and then after it hit, it would detonate a bunch of tiny, small missiles. They were called Wolfpack rounds, and they had extreme tracking. And originally, I believe it did roughly double damage of a normal rocket. And so that's why Gjallarhorn was so extremely OP, especially with the tracking on the main rocket and then all of the Wolfpack rounds tracking as well. You pretty much couldn't miss a rocket with the Gjallarhorn. And that's why it was so good at melting bosses in the original Destiny when it first came out. But considering that it's coming from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, and they're not just going to make it ridiculously OP and so simplistic to use, like before you would just fire the rocket and that was it. There was nothing more to it. There was no setup. There was no added layer to it. We've seen with reprised exotics coming from D1 to D2, they tend to throw in there a sort of added layer of difficulty when it comes to these weapons to make it a little more sweeter, a little more powerful than it was in D1, but just with that added layer of difficulty. So that way it's not as simplistic as just click the button, boss dies. And along with that note, someone actually questioned Bungie dev Gjallarhorn and asked him this question, and he actually gave us a pretty good amount of insight into what the Gjallarhorn exotic perk might be to a certain extent. So go ahead and watch that clip now.
And so Gjallarhorn is sort of the gun with the biggest legacy in Destiny, and so it was a gun that happened in Destiny 1. It was one of the first guns that you could ever buy from Xur, sort of this mysterious trader of Destiny. And a lot of people, when Xur sold Gjallarhorn, thought, oh, a rocket launcher, like I'm not going to waste my money on a rocket launcher. And they lived to regret this choice for years and years because it turned out to be one of the most powerful weapons in the game. And so Gjallarhorn sort of had this sort of mysticism behind it, right? And for a long time, it just annihilated anything that stood in its path. And we've been reluctant to put Gjallarhorn into Destiny 2. It's a hard thing to transfer over, right? It's 90% nostalgia, right? And it's like 10% ass kissing. And so really what we wanted to do was make sure that when Gjallarhorn came to Destiny 2, it did not disappoint, right? Like, and so
that's crazy.
We're really excited if people have seen some of the ways that guns have moved from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. It's not about just porting over exactly what you want. We sort of do the HD remake version of the gun, and I'm really excited for players to see the perks on Gjallarhorn because it has everything that you want it to have. It's got a little bit extra that you'll get to be able to see in the 30th.
Stop.
And so, yeah, for Gjallarhorn specifically,
that's
it's
so
part
good.
of our 30th anniversary pack. This is coming out in December. Bungie's been around for 30 years. We're celebrating all the games that we've made, and there's a new 3-player dungeon coming out, and anyone that braves and completes the dungeon is going to get Gjallarhorn. So this is not a thing that you're going to have to, hey, am I ever going to get it? Do I need enough strange coins to go to Xur? Right? You know exactly what you need to do. Get in the dungeon, complete that dungeon, get Gjallarhorn.
Damn. So there you have it, a little bit of insight from Bungie dev Gjallarhorn. And 2 key points I take away from that was the first one is does not disappoint and everything you want it to have and a little extra. So my initial thoughts of what the Gjallarhorn will be like in Destiny 2, and let me know your thoughts down below. I'm thinking that it's going to be almost exactly like D1. You're going to aim it. It's going to have tracking. You're going to fire the rocket. It's going to hit. It's going to detonate. Wolfpack rounds will emit from that detonation, and they will track onto that target or onto multiple targets for that matter. And that's how it's going to work initially. Now, what will be that little extra that he talked about? Perhaps there could be some perk related to reloading the weapon, maybe a short timer of increased damage shortly after reloading the weapon, or maybe the very last rocket you fire with the Gjallarhorn deals increased damage. Who knows what that will be? I mean, there's so much that they could possibly do, but there's definitely going to be that little extra that's going to make this weapon more powerful than it was in D1. And you might think to yourself, there's no way it could ever be more powerful than it was in D1, but it can have more powerful attributes. But obviously, for the time being in D1, there will never be anything as powerful as that. I mean, that was the it weapon. It did so much damage, and it was the weapon for DPS and for boss melting, for everything really in the game. Originally, if you were there, if you were part of that time, you definitely got to experience a very magical time in Destiny in that first year, if you were able to get that Gjallarhorn. That is, I was only able to get the Gjallarhorn halfway through that first year, so I didn't even get to experience it during the real golden age. But let me know down in the comment section below, at what point in time did you get Gjallarhorn, if you did play Destiny 1, and let me know down below, what exotic perk do you think they're going to add to the Gjallarhorn to give it that little extra? I'm dying to know what your thoughts and ideas are. There's always such good creative ideas down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.